And we are live. What's good? What's good, everybody? Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in America or on the planet. Uh, I am DL Saint. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. Welcome. Hope y'all are having a good Thursday. Um, pretty much all the days run together for me. I am, though, looking forward to this weekend. The Tampa Bay Comic Convention is this weekend. Y'all know y'all boy gonna be there. Um, they have it's kind of like Tampa Bay's answer to Comic Con. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be definitely gonna be smaller than Comic Con. Comic Con being in San Diego being the premier uh, con when it comes to that sort of thing. But I like the smaller ones. I think this is going to be a small to mid-sized convention events. It's going to be fun. People are going to be dressed up. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of geek stuff going on. Um, what I love most about going to these type of events are there are no, you know, shields up. People are out having a good time. They're dressed up in these outlandish, cool outfits, costumes, having fun. There's no room for being cool and all that kind of stuff, man. No BS. They just out there having a good time. I love going to these type of events, and the critical drinker is gonna be there. I'm a fan of the critical drinker. Um he's an author. I'm pretty sure he's a filmmaker. I can't wait to meet the brother. I'm gonna ask him. But he does. He's a film critic, and that's what he's known for. Critical Drinker. If you never checked it out, go to his YouTube, The Critical Drinker, and check out his reviews on films. They're normally about 6 to 9 minutes long. He does real cool breakdowns, and like it is what it is. So today we're gonna talk about some things I found. Y'all know that Uncle Saint's always out there looking at stuff. I see you, Mickey. I see you, Mickey. We'll get you in a second. I'm always out there looking at stuff and exploring the world, so to speak. And that's why I have this platform, right? So all these different bubbles are out there, and I like to try to bring them together, and we can take a look into these different worlds and see what's going on. I stumbled onto it was armored combat. It's like it's a sport. I stumbled onto this thing, and I started right away looking and looking and looking, and I found someone who can explain to me what's going on, and the brother was nice enough to take time out of his busy day, out of his schedule to come on here and tell us all about armored combat and what it is. And I have a ton of questions. I can't wait. So without further ado, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Mickey G.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you so much, man. I know you're working hard, and we got Central and Eastern time zones going on.
We had a fight night last night. We do fights every Wednesday in our cage, so we had a massive cleanup this morning, and I'm beat up and tired. It was a good fight. It was a good fight last night.
Oh my goodness, this is what we got to talk about, brother. So before I bombard you with all these questions, um, can you tell everyone who you are and what you're about?
Yeah, my name is Mickey Gallus. I own the Nashville Armored Combat Gym. It's the only dedicated armored combat gym in the United States or in any of the Americas right now. I think there might be one other in Russia, and we're the only place that does cage fights for our sport in a self-fabricated cage specialized for our sport. It's reinforced with steel bars everywhere. I'm actually in the cage right now, and it's bolted to the ground because we have 300-pound men slamming into each other, wearing 100 pounds of armor. So, and we keep the crowd as safe as possible. We let them sit pretty close, but about 2 years I got into this sport, so it's been a quick progression. After 6 months, I was drafted for Team USA, and ever since then, I've had access to all sorts of information all around the United States. I travel all the time to train with the best in the United States, and I bring it back to my school. And the goal really for us here at Nashville Armored Combat is to develop a curriculum that can be universal to get people started and safe for the various types of sport that comes with this, because it's not just one particular sport. There's several aspects of the sport that we'll get into later. and we want to make sure everybody learns how to do it properly, knows the rules, and then ultimately launch 2 professional leagues, one for the 1 versus 1, and then there's a team version of the sport, and we're hoping to create a season for the sport rather than just having a bunch of events kind of disjointed all over the country and all over the world. We're trying to combine them all and into a solid season so people can train for specific times of the year.
Wow, bro. I mean, it's just people don't know what we're talking about here because I've been telling folks I've been excited about this one, and I've been telling folks up front like, hey, yo, y'all gonna have to watch this on Thursday. I got something that's gonna blow your mind. So I loaded up a little bit. You sent me some stuff, and I also had some stuff kind of loaded up. So let's have a look at what this is all about. This is actually from your site, Nashville Armored Combat, which is in Nashville, of course.
Yep.
And this is the cage that Mickey was talking about right here, just to give you a better look at it. And this is just a clip of what Brother Mickey was talking about. So let's give it a play and see what happens. And I lost my here it is. Bro, I gotta pause it right there. What the hell, man?
So, that's our grand opening. That was January 15th. We invited fighters from all around the country and their friends to come fight in both the one-on-one MMA style, which we call pro fighting, and then the team fights were the next day. That's Carl Fisk, I believe, from Atlanta. He also runs documentary crews, making a film about PTSD and soldiers coming back from war and finding the sport and finding, camaraderie and a way to reacclimate themselves back into society. So he's doing a great job. Carl Fisk, it's called Steel Soldier. If anybody's interested in that, it's not out yet, but he's been working real hard over the last couple years. So that's Carl Fisk got pinned against the fence, and I believe it was Dakota Miller beating the crap out of him. Can't remember right off the top of my head, but so the reason why it's very intense and into each other's faces is because we have the armor. It does protect us a lot. Like I have a few pieces of armor here and some weapons I can show you here in a second, but you don't have the consequences of like a real knockout too often. You can catch somebody pretty good, but in a one-on-one, we can actually look at them and prepare yourself for a good strike. You're not very likely to deal with the consequences of a mysterious, out of nowhere knockout like you would see in the UFC.
Okay. So yeah, let's get into the questions, bro, because that, like I said, I'm like, wow, and this is definitely gonna unfold. And on this podcast, thank you. First of all, thank you, brother, for doing this. I'm very young to the space, so I don't, I haven't made the monetization thing yet. I'm not monetized, but we're growing pretty good, and because we do stuff like this, and I'm all over the place when it comes to times. I don't have a set time yet, so we might not have people jump on for a little bit, but the replay will definitely get a lot of people on the replay. And because folks are at work, what I mean, or whatever. But brother, thanks for doing this. I can see behind me. I'm a veteran. I was a paratrooper. What I mean? No stranger to combat, but this is a little different.
Right.
But I see what you mean about the strikes because you're wearing, like you said, 100 pounds worth of armor. Your range of motion has to be constricted. Your vision has to be constricted to an extent.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. You can do what?
I was going to say you can optimize your kit for specific events. Like the heavier the armor, you might be doing what we call a melee, and that's 5 versus 5. And the only goal is to take down the other teams to the ground. So you can trip them, you can throw them to the ground, and you can also take an axe to their spine and hit them really hard with an axe and knock them out because pain compliance. So you wear heavy armor because at any moment one of those guys could blindside you with an axe. And I have one right here. Probably have to back it a little bit. There we go. So something like that. This is called just a two-handed axe. It's nothing. It's not too long. It's probably about 4 feet, 5 feet long, and it doesn't weigh too much, but you can swing it with deadly intent at anywhere on the body except for the neck, the armpit, the groin, and you're not allowed to go vertical along the spine, but you are allowed to hit horizontal along the spine. So a lot of people either carry these around for the smaller fights, or when there's 10 versus 10s, they carry bigger ones because they hide behind their shield mates. They build a little shield wall and they drop these heavy axes on each other. This will knock you out. I've been knocked out by an axe at Dragon Con last year. I was knocked out by an axe.
Hey,
So,
bro, isn't that the kind of axe that cut William Wallace open? I'm just saying.
yeah, pretty much. I've been hit by one and it knocks my tendons out of my arm. Just like hit me here and shot out. There's an exit wound on the other side of my arm. So,
Oh my goodness,
yeah,
brother.
it's pretty dangerous. But like I said, you can optimize your armor so you can wear more for those kind of events. I was at a Team USA training camp, so I didn't think to wear any armor behind my shield because I didn't think I'd get hit. Then I got hit, of course.
Hey, that's how it always happens, bro. It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna go with whatever piece of kit, and you go out, and that's the one thing you need.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no matter what it is. So my very first question was like, why do this?
Well, I was kind of at the end of my rope. I planned on taking my own life and everything like that. So if you need a warning and stuff like that, you can put that up. But
No. We're live, bro. So I mean,
yeah,
if you don't mind, like, so
of
you have
course.
military background, or what was going on?
No, man, I just had a weird life. My therapist was like, "Yeah, you've got PTSD, like from all the shit you've been through," and I'm like, "All right, cool." But 2 years ago, I was just kind of done. Lost enjoyment of life, just in general. Realized that I'd struggled so long that changing my life for the better would be way too hard, and I put this armor on. I actually went ahead and bought armor because I saw it on TV. I was like, I'll try that. Maybe that'll be something cool to do. And I hated it. Like I freaked out. It was too heavy, too hot, and sat down for a long time after I got out of the armor. And it was like it would take me so much time to like get healthy enough and change who I am to do this sport. There's no way I could just do it for fun. Like, and I felt like I fucked up my life leading up to that point, and the memories came back of like all the weird and crazy things that had happened, even though they were bad memories or weird memories or dangerous memories. They were still like somewhat fun to remember, and I realized that screwing up my life for so long was actually kind of fun, and maybe treating myself with respect and treating myself in a healthy way could also be fun. So I'm like, I'm 34. The next half of my life, I treat myself nice. So I
That's what's
dedicated
up.
myself to being healthy, being fit, and doing this sport the best I can. And it helped me. So I wanted to build a place that could bring people in as easily as possible to help them too. So that's kind
And
of
you're
why.
saying being healthy and being fit. So when you first got into a suit of armor, were you out of shape big time? Were you like
Yeah. Great.
we're talking just a little heavy, a few extra pounds, or are you talking like obese type thing?
No, I wasn't obese. I was, just out of shape. I was a smoker. I drank a fair amount. I was a musician, so that kind of came with the lifestyle.
So you
So
were a rock star. You're living a rock star life.
so I did that for a long time, and then I got out of music and just was lost. Didn't have any passion for anything. And I had heart issues. I had SVT and AFib flutter. So I've had my third heart surgery. Was in May.
And you're
Uh,
doing this because I have a heart murmur, and like my doctors are always like, okay, so what are you doing? Because I'm almost 52. So for me, if I were to get into the ring, I'm like, no, I don't think that y'all have to drag me out of there.
Yeah, I've been dragged out because I didn't for the first year I didn't get deal with my heart at all, and I would get dragged out several times from like collapsing. Um, my heart rate gets up to like 260 when I had my before surgery. Yeah,
Easy, easy. So you have that sorted out,
yeah,
right?
I,
And
I
and
just had my
then
last surgery. Yeah,
and this. So for you, getting into this cage, all suited up and doing your thing, helps you bring everything back to perspective.
yeah. I'd say that I stay in the cage because now I'm feeling good. I'm pretty healthy. I stay in the cage because there's other people who need this. They need the outlet. They need this consensual violence. That we do every week. And so I stay in the cage and I try to be as good as possible to respect their need for this outlet.
All
Um,
right.
I've scratched my itch. I'm healthy-ish. I'm feeling good, but I want to help other people, so I stay in the cage for that.
Well, I tell you what, bro, that makes you noble right there, man. Because some people are like, I got mine and just be gone. But here you are, still making it happen, building up the business, and we'll definitely circle back to the business. But
Right.
all right, so that's noble, man. So let's talk about this, man. What are the rules, bro?
Okay. So there's several categories, so bear with me. There's dueling, which is just blade strikes. So sword and shield, sword and buckler, long sword, pole arm, like which is an axe, right? And you get into the ring with them, and it's timed. It's either 60 seconds or 90 seconds, and it's every time you hit with the blade, you get a point. So that's pretty benign. It's not very dangerous at all. The pole arm, the axes kind of hurt a bit, but it's not too bad.
Now, who scores that?
There's usually 4 judges that sit on the side, and they have little clickers, and it's like 2 points for the head and the torso, and 1 for the limbs. It
Okay.
depends on the league; they do change it, but that's the basics. Like we can go into the very, very nitty gritty detail of everything, but like it's a wider sport than you think, because that's just dueling categories, and there's 4 or 5 of them.
I got an idea how wide it is when I was out there searching. I'm like, holy
Right.
shit! Like it was all this. So when you're doing that particular event, is it based on just we're gonna go X amount of rounds, or first person that scores X wins?
Sword and buckler, first person to 5. So
Okay.
5 strikes. So there's usually not a timer on that. But for the sword and shield, long sword, and pole arm, they set a timer for like a minute, and then you do best of 3 rounds, or they do a 90-second sudden death. Again, it depends on the league. There's several leagues out there. So
Okay, that's
I've
cool.
done the sudden death was the one I got on for Team USA, was the 90-second sudden death.
That's what's up, man. So we got brother O in the chat. You know, this brother right here is in South Africa. So shout out
Right.
to you. He's like, oh, he's like, yeah, he's like, sounds extreme. And brother O is saying, I've noticed that men or even humans in general always need someone or some outlet for violence, whether it's physical sports, action movies, or video games. And I would have to agree with him. We do have that because we are. Let's keep it 100. We're animals, not just animals, but predators. That's who we are.
Yeah, and that,
It is.
and I'm glad you put the and humans. Like we have women who are into the sport and they kick ass. Like so they go out and they're way way faster and harder than we are. We seem to be a little bit more methodical. I don't know why that is, but when they go hard.
They just go like Amazons and go crazy with it.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other, man. And we actually took our starting capital of the business. We actually took a big chunk of it and bought almost 8 sets of armor for women, because there's no secondhand armor around that they can get for cheap or anything like that. So we actually bought the first set of armor so they could all share it and borrow it and get more women into the sport. You were saying that we're all animals. Like there's constant like bombardment of like microaggressions from like having to pay rent, having to get up for go to work. Like every day you struggle to like survive, and we're just told to deal with it. That's life. And
That's life.
this is our time where we can go like, this isn't life anymore. This is violence, and we've agreed to do this. Like it separates us out a little bit, gives us that outlet.
I mean, men, women, warriors need to do warrior shit. Even though we're civilized and all that kind of stuff, we still need to get out there and do it. And that's funny. That was one of my questions I was going to ask you. Do women compete? And since we're down here on this, I was going to ask you, how hot are the groupies, bro? You coming out of just saying. I'm just saying.
Just like everywhere, man. Like everything comes with praise and glory. You just try not to let it go to your head, man. So, because there are people that do that, and not a big fan of them getting their big heads like that. They get knocked down pretty quick too. So
Well, that's the best part about it, because I do stand up comedy, right? So just a little bit about me. I'm a retired air traffic controller. I'm a desert storm vet, paratrooper, and I did comedy for over 15 years. So I'm doing air traffic control during the day. At night, I'm going out in Hollywood. I'm living in California at the time. I'm going to Hollywood doing stand up. Nothing humbles you like bombing on stage. And now I'm talking to you. I'm like, boy, I would rather bomb on stage to get hit in the back with one of those actors and get knocked out. You want to talk about getting humble? Like, hey, baby, go watch. Come see me do this. I'm finna go beat this dude up. And you just get mauled.
yeah, there's no script, no control. So you can't do your best all the time. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose more than you win. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet. And then we talked about. So yeah, you answered pretty much all my questions for the first go around. because it just kind of came out in that. So you talked about the armor for the women. How much does it cost? And I imagine it's pretty expensive sport just getting the gear.
Yeah, it could start like a good starter kit is about 3 grand, 4 grand. Um,
Wow.
and then you get into the specialized. Like I have a specialized set for the MMA version of the sport, which is the punching, kicking, throws, and everything like that. I have a specialized kit, and it probably cost me, I don't know, almost $8,000, $9,000.
So how many sets of armor do you have? Just the two?
Two right now, yeah, for the teams, and then for the one-on-ones. I'm getting a third built right now, so I probably own about $25,000 worth of armor. It's not a good thing, but
Wow.
a lot of it I lend out, you know.
And you're not even taking into account the maintenance on your armor. I'm sure after you do a bout, you have to fix it, right? It's going to be all dented up and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah. We broke an eye bar that protects me in my helmet, so it was pointing back at my eye.
Oh,
So that got broken. Somebody punched my faceplate off. This is my helmet, actually. This is what I use. It's called a wolf rib, so I can see through it, but it's dangerous because you can fit the
right.
blade through it. So, and they ended up breaking this bar right here. Sorry, I'll turn it a little bit more. This bar right here got snapped off and was pointing back at my face. So, um, yeah. So I've seen people actually get lacerations on their face from broken eye bars, and so we're gonna weld it together. Somebody's coming by in a little bit to do some welding on my helmet. It's falling apart right now. So
And what's that the cloth portion that hangs down? What is that and what is it
oh yeah.
for?
So they call it an aventail, and I'll hold it up again. And I just have random cloth on there because what you usually do is you hide plates on the liner. So you put little plates all along the black portion of it, and then you hide it with cloth. And I just put this on because I was ordering one, and it's just not here in time right now. So because I have a fight in Dallas against the middleweight champion, August 5th, and so I just pieced something together real quick so it doesn't so I can hide my plates. That's it. There's some extra protection you can add, like you can wear motorcycle gear and add extra armor plates everywhere. But if it's not historically authentic, you have to hide it. So you can hide it with chainmail, you can hide it with cloth, you can hide it with all sorts of things.
So that's part of it. You can't have anything modern looking on your gear. You have to look like a knight from back in the old days.
Yeah, it's got to be in a manuscript. So
So if you aren't compliant, does that disqualify you from a fight? Oh wow.
yep. So I mean, here at National Armor Combat, we want people fighting, so it's like get armor on, go fight. But when it comes to like the overseas fighting or the higher end fighting, it's definitely there's an authenticity committee, and even the shields or the weapons, they're pretty strict about what they look like and how they function. So
Now you mentioned national team, and you just mentioned World League. I want people to understand that this is not just an American thing. It's not a Tennessee thing. This is a worldwide thing, and there are national teams. So how do you go about getting on a national team? Because are you on the U.S. team?
right now, since they canceled some of the overseas stuff, I'm no longer on the Team USA team until further notice. What you do is you go to a couple of events that are there's a league called HMB and IMCF. So you go to a couple of those tournaments just to be there and show that you're committed to going overseas. And then there's a qualifying event where all the best in the United States meet up and they compete for spots on Team USA. It's almost like a tryout, but it is also a tournament. So
And that's so you just have to. Are there like well, you said you're going to fight the someone with a title. So how many, I guess, divisions are there, like, or classes, or how does that? What's the breakdown?
like for weight classes right now,
Yes.
yeah, there's 4 weight classes for the overseas. When we start our league, there'll be 7 weight classes. Right now, it's like 165 and down, 166 to 189. So there's a big, weight. He weighs more than I do, so I just got to fight up. And then it's 190 to like 210, 220, and then it's just super heavyweights from there. And the
Oh
women, they
wow.
only have 150 down and 150 up. So we're gonna change that as soon as we get our league started, because that's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to fight somebody 20 pounds heavier than you.
So yes. So how you doing with sponsorship and all that kind of stuff? I mean, because I would imagine that I mean we already know that the armor costs a ton of money. We know you're already running the business. There's travel expenses. So how are you doing as far as getting the word out? Maybe getting yourself some sponsorships.
Right now, we've been word of mouth, which has been very successful for us. We're trying to build what I would say is uh, the framework, the blueprint, the proof of concept of what this could be. So we're not actually reaching out until it's feeling really solid. Like we're adding a small crew of film people to come in and actually help us with our live broadcast because we stream every Wednesday all of our fights, and we just have some cameras with robot arms on them and stuff like that for right now because we're understaffed. We're owned by 9 fighters and we run everything, and so we're constantly understaffed and always tired. So we're hiring some of the broadcasters. We've had several places wanting us to take our event and move it to their venue, and we're also, doing the tailgate party at the SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium. We'll be doing some Titan stuff like that. So right now it's just like a slow burn, but trying to make sure that it's all one unified idea before people start sticking money into it because it can run away real quick from you. So
Yeah, okay. It sounds like you have this all planned out. That's good. I wanted to show you something and get your commentary on this because you were talking about 5-on-5 and
yeah.
these other things. So check this out, y'all, and let me know what y'all think.
Oh, geez, the 150 versus 150.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna let this run and just feel free to jump in. We got the sound in the background. So
Oh, yeah.
this is how the world events look.
Yeah, so there's Team USA behind Ukraine. So yeah, what they do is there's 5v5s, 10v10s, 16 versus 16s, 20 something versus 20 something, and 30 versus 30. And what they do at the very end of that big tournament is they take the 30 versus 30 teams and put 5 of them together on each side and just have them battle it out at the very end.
That's insane.
Yeah, so there's teams of 30s fighting alongside of each other. And you can see
this is how it goes.
Yep. And it's crazy. Yeah, some guy with the GoPro from Ukraine goes in there.
That's insane. So they tell you all right, USA, Britain, Germany versus Ukraine, Russia, Poland, whatever it is. Wow.
Yeah, so that's how they break up the alliance. Usually it's West versus East.
Well, how do you score this?
Once you're down on the ground, you're out. That's it. So just like the 5v5s or 10v10s, as soon as you hit the ground, you're out. So, and you have to remain a dead body the whole time.
You gotta stay out there because people can knock you over the dead body. Okay.
Yeah. Because historically, when a knight fell, there would be squires that would jump on him and stab him to death. So.
Now maybe that's the job I could have. They could just have me out there and I just run out there with spray paint or something. You're down. All right, bro. So I just wanted to throw that out there. 150 versus 150.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's for fun. It's not for any sort of prize or anything like that. The professional leagues will have smaller, more digestible battles and stuff like that. Because 5 versus 5 is a lot. That's 10 people running around. That's crazy.
In that cage, there's not a lot of room for that.
No. So the cage is only for the one-on-ones, and then around our cage we actually have a wooden. You can kind of see it over my this shoulder and that shoulder. Yeah, so we have a wooden, what we call a list that goes all the way around us. It's a fence, and that's where you do the fighting in. It's usually 40 by 60 feet wide, so there's a lot of room to run around.
Man, that's crazy. Snuggle 668 in the house. Sparta versus Mongolia. Yeah, that's what it is. They're getting down, and it says Sparta of Genghis Khan. Yeah, and we got Mandriel 211. Brother Mandriel was good. What's up, deal saying? I really want to know podcast. Mandriel's a brother who was SF. He was Special Forces. Okay. So I'm glad he popped in, and hopefully he'll tell me what he feels about how he feels about this. But yeah, that was great. That was amazing. And brother, do they have a fitness test or requirements to wear the armor or compete? Oh, that's a good question. Is there that? Is that a thing?
We do. Not everybody does. I'm sure overseas they treat it very professionally. There are professional fighters over there. They're either state sponsored, like the Russians pay their fighters to do it, or they're private. So there are teams that they go around, pick up the best, and they hire them to do the sport. Even if there's an English team that has several Ukrainians on it, like they actually recruit across country. So
Oh wow.
in America, no, you can be whoever the hell you want and put on armor and go, get injured. Because really, a lot of people blow out their knees. That's the biggest thing, is the movement and the weight and everything, that you won't catch yourself right. So in our camp, we do 1 to 3 months of training outside of armor, and then we put you in armor on like a Friday night sparring, and we have a veteran go out there and fight you and keep you safe. And then we kind of gauge from there, like, are you moving properly? Are you able to handle 1 minute of fighting, 2 minutes of fighting, 3 minutes of fighting? Like, what can you handle? And we keep ramping you up until you get yourself a fight night, which is on Wednesdays. We do a fight night, and we'll send them out, and we call them fresh meat. And we have them fight a veteran in front of the audience, because again, the veteran's going to be out there whooping their ass, but still protecting them, making sure that, because I can see if somebody's hurt or injured or not doing well. And then once they've done enough fresh meat rounds, then we give them a professional fight. So it's our way to bring them from start to finish within like 3 months, 4 months.
Wow. So do you have people coming? Because I can see this being the next workout craze. Because you know how they, I mean, there's always some sort of crazy workout. Like you got the CrossFit, and then that led to the Spartan stuff. So I can see this turning into, a thing. So when you train, like get back into the training, so how long would it take them to go from just walking through the door to a fight night?
If they're already 1 month-ish before I like test them. So a month and a half if they're fit. If they come in and they're already kind of fit, 1.5 months. If they're a little bit behind on their fitness, probably 3 months before I put them in a cage. So.
Okay, and that's smart. So that's cool. So do you envision, like, let's talk about your leagues, right? When you get this really popping, do you envision, like, state by state, I mean within the 50 states, sponsored teams that will actually come out here, or how do you think that's going to play out? Or you think it's just going to be like boxing, where you just have someone coming out of, whatever city, whatever gym?
You'll have it two ways, because it'll be the one-on-ones like we talked about and the team fights. It would be nice if there's some cross promotion, because it's likely that the captain of the team would be one of those guys who does the one-on-ones. But so you'll have both. You'll have to have the promoter and the fight promoter dealing with the one-on-ones, and then I want state teams. I wouldn't say state. There could be several city teams, I guess is a better way to put it. Because there is like a Houston team, there's a Dallas team, there was a Memphis team. We're helping build Chattanooga and Knoxville, and we live in Nashville. There's 2 teams in Detroit. Like, there's a lot of teams all over. So eventually there would be like a professional team that is paid to play, and they would represent their city or state. The big thing, and I'll stress this right now, is that we will not push forward with this professional league unless there's equal representation of women in the sport.
So that's the thing. Like, you want equal representation.
Yes. So here's how we plan to do it. So if there's a Dallas team, they have both 8 men and 8 women on the team, because you're allowed to have 8 for the 5v5s.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because you have 3 substitutes, right? And so they show up and they fight Nashville. Now the men do 3 rounds, and that's considered a match, right? So they do 3 rounds of the team fights, and then they take a break, and the women come out and do 3 rounds for a match. And they keep going back and forth, both racking up points for their city, right? So say the Nashville team, there's 30 points available that you can win total,
Okay.
The Nashville team does good, and they split the difference with Dallas, right? So the men's team gets 15 points on each, so it's tied. So it really boils down to how well the women do. So when you come to recruiting and trying to find new fighters and trying to build out your team, say your women's team's just not doing that great, and you're going to go out and hire one of the best women fighters that you could possibly find, because they both equally contribute to the wins, to the points that you get. Rather than having it separate and equal, you have absolutely both teams contribute to the score.
You just make both sexes essential to the win.
Yes.
And I think that's smart, because it doesn't lessen, in my opinion, not that I know anything, I'm just some old dude who's sitting on a YouTube channel, but it doesn't lessen the competition.
Right.
It's not like the women have to fight the men,
No.
and it makes it, you know what I mean. But it also keeps it from where the money goes all to the men because you have to have these female fighters in order to get the scores
Yeah.
you need to
So
win to be
it has to
successful.
go both ways equally, right? Yeah. And
That
then just
makes sense.
equal eyes on them as well, because there's problems with allocations of resources, like regarding marketing. Like I saw your Bill Burr one, and he makes a good point. Like, why aren't women going out there and celebrating women's sports? And
Right.
there's two things to that. There is the idea that women shouldn't enjoy sports, that they shouldn't like violence or athletic shit. Like they're encouraged to be homemakers and all that bullshit, right? But then there's also marketing that's not being allocated properly, which again, you market things that you think you can sell, and there's sexist bias and whatever. But the idea really is that I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to have that discussion with anybody. I'm not going to be like, oh, women should show up. But no, I'm going to say women want to do it, men want to do it, and the men need a break, and the women need a break. So during that time when they're sitting out for 15 minutes, the other team can fight, and they both can contribute to the overall score and share in the profit. Because again, watching the women fight is really entertaining for me because they're when they do the team fights, there's a lot of communication because they're utilizing their skills more than just their brute strength. A lot of the guys in America just run around with an axe and just swing it and then swing it and swing it, and it's just people running around smacking the shit out of each other. Where you'll see the women, they'll use the weapon to soften their opponent and then go in for the grapple and then do a cool takedown. And like it's almost like you see in real time the slow leaving of somebody's ego from their body. Like they slowly grind each other down. I mean, one of my friends had her neck was so strained that her neck came out to here because of how many
Damn.
people were just yanking on her helmet all day long. Because they fought,
Damn.
I think, 18 rounds that day,
I
and the men
mean,
only fought like 11 that day.
when you look at jujitsu, man, like
Yeah.
versus any other fighting form, all they're doing is grinding you down. And once they get you to make that mistake, and they can kind of like a python fight, and they just kind of slowly, and that's what it sounds like these women are doing. They just kind of finding their little openings and then slowly grind you down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun to watch. I've enjoyed watching the women fight more than the men, just again, because there's a pace to it that is digestible, and there's a lot of thought in what they're doing. So,
And that's what's up. And brother O asks, does the sport have mandatory material or metal to use for the armor? And I know that at the world level, I do know for a fact that there is uh, something with the material that you have to use. So is there a rule here locally?
yeah, it has to be a certain thickness, and it can be, and based on what material it is, that'll change the thickness. So, like titanium can be thinner, mild steel has to be thicker, and then hardened or tempered steel, excuse me, is thinner than the mild steel. So, like my helmet is probably close to 3 millimeters thick on the top of my head, and then slowly gets down to about 2 millimeters towards the sides. So,
Okay. And all the equipment is inspected, I would imagine, before the
yeah,
events and stuff like that. Okay.
yeah, I think they're pretty lax here in America, but when the professional leagues kick in, like it'll be every single piece of equipment will be measured, and probably there'll be less variety of armor, just to make it cheaper for people to get into the sport. Because right now everything we get is custom made,
Right.
absolutely custom made. And if you can limit some of it, and people are going to get mad at that, but if you want to do your fantasy kit where you're a 15th century knight wearing blackened armor and stuff like that, go do that. And there's a league for that. We're not going to take away from the beer leagues and the people who like to cosplay as a knight, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we're going to make it more. Our goal is to make it more sports optimized. And I know the Europeans are going to be mad at that, but
Yeah, that's why they're in Europe and we're over here. This is America.
yeah.
We do it. We always do it better over here anyway. It's fine. So, brother Mandrill is like, is this full contact LARPing? I'm not sure what LARPing means. I have to look that up.
LARPing is live action role playing, and so
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Cool.
and
I just learned something.
there's two sides to LARPing. One is the role play where you dress up in a character and whatnot, and then there's a thing called boffering, which is the actual sport where they use the foam weapons and hit each other. Like LARPing is actually pretty intense, sports wise, because they actually are rather athletic people bashing shields against each other and then trying to stab each other or smack the shit out of each other with foam weapons, and you have to hit them hard enough that it actually hurts them for them to say like, "Oh, I'm dead." Like
Okay.
So LARPing's pretty cool, but there's like that nerd aspect that people shy away from because it can be fireballs and elves and weird shit like that. But for the most part, there's that sport element that people focus on rather than focus on the role playing. So we get that question a lot: is this LARP? No, it is a combat sport. We just happen to be wearing armor and using weapons. So it's just like MMA. It's just like any other thing. It's just we're wearing heavy equipment with blankets underneath the heavy equipment and swinging very deadly weapons. So
Wow. Oh, there you have it, man. That's great. That's I mean, because people think, oh man, that's they're crazy. You can die boxing.
yes,
You can die with just you can die boxing. So you know shit's dangerous, man. Just keep it 100. Things that you could die playing football. Every year it used to be. I was playing football back in the '80s in high school. It was almost like every year a kid got paralyzed.
yep,
Because it's dangerous. We were going hard. So long as you take precautions and you know what you're doing, which it sounds like you are, is with the training aspect, with coaching people up, briefing people on what they're doing, it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna kill you. And that kind of pain it can make you better. I mean, I tell young guys this all the time, especially the guys who are out there talking tough. I ask them one question: have you ever been punched in the mouth? You know what I mean? Have you ever been punched in the mouth? And if the answer is no, like go join the gym and get punched in the mouth, bro, because that changes the way you see life.
right. It makes you respect, our violent tendencies.
Right. Now, brother Mickey's over here is like, have you ever been hit with an axe? That
Yeah.
might be a little more extreme. Like, I don't know about. I've never been hit with an axe, but I have been punched in the mouth.
There's probably people at my gym that will probably never get hit by an axe because a lot of them want to focus on the one-on-ones. The team fights are just they're intense, so they take less athleticism, but they take you take more of a beating for sure.
So it just sounds like it's just more brute force. There's no finesse to it at all. You just going in there
Not as much.
brute force.
It's getting better and better every year. There's a lot of us take judo to help with our throws and the finesse. Like we always end our fight nights with a fun all v all. Oh yeah, this one, Simon Rorik. So quick
Yes.
backstory: the guy on the left, his helmet came off, and he got hit in the head with an axe, and he lived. Luckily, he lived. Like they really thought he was dead. And so now we have to wear a strap from our helmet to our chest plate, and we call
Is
it.
that what I see here? Is there a strap here on the back of his helmet?
Yep. Yeah, that strap right back there, we call it a Simon strap because Simon Rorik got hit in the head. So
Shout out to Simon for getting hit in the head with an axe and not dying. That's a tough dude right there.
yeah, Simon
So
Rorik's great, man. And then he's fighting Brett Skinner, who's probably the top fighter in the United States. He's from the Dallas camp. So
okay, so I was just gonna play this and get a little commentary from you if you don't mind, and I'll turn on the volume here. And you're gonna be in Dallas fighting somebody from that camp here pretty soon.
yeah, I'm fighting their best guy in my weight class.
So is the distance the same? Is it uniform or does it change from place to place? Inside.
Oh yeah, it changes a lot. Like this, they don't even have this place anymore. Their place is different now. This is a pretty old video. And see, they're adjusting the Simon strap on the back.
So he can move it. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so his head can still move, but his helmet won't go flying off if it does come off. So they're doing an axe pro fight, so they're allowed to punch and kick and do all that fun stuff too, and throw them to the ground. But there's no ground and pound when you're doing it this way. So
Okay.
if anybody's interested in the Dallas area, they're called the Dallas
Ooh.
Warlords.
Man, y'all crazy, bro. Okay, so he lost his axe. What happens?
They're supposed to stop the fight.
Okay, so
But-
once you drop your weapon, that's supposed to stop?
Yeah, and it's a penalty against you.
Oh, so they'll take. Is that a point, minus a point, or?
Yeah, it's like minus 2 points. But I think they're doing more of an exhibition style. Obviously, they don't have any safety precautions for the audience, so you should have a net between the audience and you. Because an axe can break and fly off. We had one break last night and fly off. It actually broke our window.
They do have wow, that's great. They do have a net.
They do? Okay, good.
Yes. You
Good.
probably just can't see it on your phone, but they do have a net there between them and the audience. And I see this cute little girl with her mouth wide open, like, oh my God. It's like this little baby sitting there enjoying the
Yeah.
fight.
People are They bring young kids here too all the time, and then people are surprised how violent it is. I watch videos of myself, and I throw a knee in somebody's face, and you just see people like worried the person's alive, you know. Um, but
Right, because you guys are going hard. Now, you were talking about your different kits. This doesn't seem as heavy as the first video that we looked at when they had the armor seemed to be heavier in the first video. This seems to be not as heavy, like because you can see their legs are exposed in the back and stuff like that. Is that so they can be more flexible?
yeah,
Flexible?
of course. And again, there's money involved too in that because Carl Fisk was wearing a very expensive suit of armor. Um, so it's his is actually probably lighter than these folks here. The guy that you saw in that first video,
Yes.
because it doesn't have any overlaps of the armor. It's actually fitted to his body, so it's very efficient. These guys are wearing lots and lots of layers over top of layers, you know. So what we call a brigadine chest plate is a bunch of plates that are stacked on top of each other, and because of that overlap, it adds more weight, and because of the rivets and because of the fabric, it adds more weight. So having a full chest piece as one solid piece can sometimes be lighter than what they're wearing right now. So
Yeah,
it's more
because
protective and sometimes lighter.
these guys, their kit looks very bulky, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say that's a pretty heavy kit. They're probably used to wearing team fight kits, and not many people actually knew about optimizing kits back in the day. Like that's probably a couple years old. Um, Only recently have people been focusing on optimizing their armor for different aspects of the sport. America's kind of behind on that. So,
Okay. And then one last thing, and then I'll start this off again. I'm looking at his faceplate.
yes.
His is way different than yours. So you want to go with more. You want more visibility. He
Yeah.
seems to be more. Just I want to be. He wants to be more secure.
Yes. There's a trade off always. And a lot of the old school guys, like Simon's probably in his 50s. Um,
Wow.
Yeah, and he's known for knocking people out and breaking hips and stuff like that. Like he's a powerhouse. I think he's in his 50s. But he just switched over to a helmet like mine not too long ago.
Okay.
So, but all the old school guys have been using this kind of helmet forever, and you just get used to it. You get used to the hot breath, breathing it in, and the low visibility. You just get used to it. Because I used to have a helmet very similar to his.
I mean, do you get style points or anything like that when you go in for these things or no?
I mean, you look cool as fuck. Yeah.
But no official points. You just look cool, but no official points.
Yeah, there's always these jokes about how the new people like wear very basic armor and they don't look good at all. They just look like they have armor, you know? And then there's the veteran who has gold like on it and wearing chains and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, over the course of like 10 years, I'm sure you want to like start looking cool, but it depends. Are you going to do cosplay or are you going to do the sport?
Are you gonna do the sport? Okay, and we'll continue. We'll just watch a little bit more of this match. And like you said, this is more exhibition. So he would have lost 2 points for that.
Yeah. And in fact, like Simon pretty much wins, except for he ends up like he's had a bad knee for a long time, so he ends up bailing out towards the end.
Oh, okay.
He's getting injured.
So they do rounds. They got 27 seconds left.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. That blow would take your limb off if you weren't armored up.
That's correct. Yeah. It's surprising how much the armor actually protects you. Like he'd be dead if he didn't have a helmet on.
Yeah.
Even the punches would break your face.
Mm.
Ooh, okay, yeah. That hip shot was pretty nasty.
That was, and then there was a blow like to the neck area. I mean, it's like if there's a gap in your armor, you through.
That's right. We have to wear neck plates as well, called gorgets. It's very common from back in the day to prevent getting stabbed in the throat. So you have your helmet that comes down, and then it overlaps with the neck brace, or the gorget. And so he shouldn't be getting hit in the neck, but sometimes you get hit in the helmet, and it looks like the neck because it's like right at the jawline, but it can hit there and kind of slide. I've seen somebody get hit in the neck with a sword, with a falchion like this big sword that's like this. Seen them get hit in the neck and they just start convulsing on the ground. So, yeah, this is a big sword. I can't even fit it all in the frame. But
all right, bro, y'all ain't fucking about. That's massive right there. That's so crazy. But all right, man. So all right, and I mean, we covered everything, but and we're about 50 minutes. We're coming up on an hour here. Again, thank you so much. I know you're tired. Is there anything we didn't cover? Because I'm so fascinated. I'm like, I don't even know what to ask at this point. Because we covered the equipment, we covered the rules. Oh, how do you make your money as a
Um,
fighter?
yeah, so right now, like I don't get paid to teach, but I do teach 7 days a week. I make my personal money by doing marketing. I'm a marketing consultant. So that's been good to me. But for the gym, to keep the gym open and cover our overhead, we do have membership fees. So but we're pretty lenient about like we have it like if you're just coming on Sundays, because Sundays are what we train for the cage. Like if you want to be in the cage, you have to come to the Sunday practices because that'll teach you. So we could just charge for Sundays or 4 days, or excuse me, like 7 days a month or whatever. So we have all these different levels of memberships, and we also offer like 2 free women's classes every week, like an hour and a half each. And so the memberships help help keep us in reinvesting. That's what we use the money for. The memberships, like we keep buying, like we bought 6 punching bags and a bunch of boxing gloves. We're gonna knock out some walls, and now we got to fix a broken window. Like so, that kind of money, the membership money, keeps us growing, which we like to do. We're not looking to make the money until the big thing happens. But the fight nights every Wednesday that we put on, we charge like $10 at the door, 15 for seating, 20 for if you want to be right on the cage, and that's what pays our bills. Like that's what keeps us in the green. Because we haven't lost any money. We opened up February and we've been making a profit every month, so which is nice. Yeah.
Outstanding, bro. So as an individual, as a fighter, let's say, you know what, I want to get into this. I'm going to be in the old man league of this, combat sport. What type of purses are there involved? How do you make your money as you move up the ranks?
Yeah, sadly, they don't have that in place. That's why we're doing the professional league.
Wow.
It's even worse than you think because a lot of the organizations, and again, they're considered beer leagues. But they do send the beer leagues are the people who pick who goes overseas right now, right? But the idea is that you have to pay like an insurance or a membership fee annually, and then you have to pay to be at the event as well. And this
as a fighter, I gotta pay to fight.
Right. If you go somewhere else, like here, no, we would never charge anybody to fight. That's ridiculous. Unless it was like an international qualifier or something like that, where it was like you're getting a chance to go overseas. Cool. But yeah, it's kind of was a weird thing when I got into the sport. But the people who are mostly in charge of the leagues here come from a world that was predates. It's like SCA or some LARPing and stuff like that, where you went to these events and they were pretty much Ren fairs, and you got to compete with like sticks and a mild steel and stuff like that. And it was cool. You can win kingdoms and all that fun stuff. But the idea is that you always paid to play. It's always a hobby, right? And that's where we've been at for probably the last 10 years in America, is at the hobby stage. And now we're getting to the point where those people who are putting on those events, they make their money and they don't have to worry about bringing an audience, right? We have to worry about an audience every time or we don't pay our bills, right? So we're the ones growing the sport because we're putting people in front of the sport, right? Instead of just being in the middle of a field somewhere or at some random Ren fair or something like that. Like, we build the audience, and that's what makes it a sport rather than hoping that there's an audience there, and that makes that a hobby, right?
Right.
So
Good for
the
you,
only way
bro.
to make money is with an audience.
Good for you, bro. So, and then insurance. That has to be one of your biggest concerns. Is that killing you, or how's that
Yeah, I
working
mean,
out for you?
you can have regular health insurance to do the sport, and then you sign a bunch of waivers. And then, yeah, when it comes to like making it a sport, we're gonna have to find somebody who does it. And there's already been organizations that have worked with insurance companies, so the pump is primed. Like we could probably chase them down and be like, "This is what we're doing. You've worked with us with this kind of sport before. How can we, negotiate?" Again, this is probably end of next year is when we're hoping to launch our professional league.
Yeah, and I mean it's just a pitch at that point. I mean, like we said before, man. All the regular sports, football being one of them, boxing, MMA, NASCAR, all these are inherently dangerous
Yeah.
endeavors, and they have insurance. So it's not a, you know what I mean? It's not it's just a business proposition, man. I'm pulling for you, brother. I really am. I'm sitting here thinking like, how can I get to Nashville and watch one of these fights? I don't want to see there. Maybe I'll dress up as the Black Knight and I'll just stand there, and nothing shall pass, and y'all can just cut off my arms, and I'll just
That's
say,
cool.
you know,
Yeah.
have a draw. Because that's from Monty Python. I don't know if you ever saw the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm. We do Black Knight drills when people aren't respecting the footwork. I take away their feet. I'm like, all right, you're gonna have to do the strikes now on one foot. You know, you're gonna have to do the drill on one foot or with one arm or whatever. Like, so
That's so funny. Like, have at you. We'll call it a draw.
yeah.
Like, that's so funny. That's one of my favorite bits.
Oh, you know, it's great. It's classic. Like, I think a lot of people probably got introduced to like medieval like world through Monty Python. Honestly, like.
That's
I
real
mean,
talk.
Lord of the Rings for other people, but like for me, it was definitely like Monty Python.
It was definitely Monty Python's, man. Well, good for you, man. So where can people find you, A? And if someone wants to donate or get involved with the cause, how do they go about doing that?
So NashvilleArmoredCombat.com, Nashville Armored Combat on Instagram, Nashville Armored Combat on Facebook. That's where we're at, or on YouTube as well. We stream our fights every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central Time. So it goes from 8 to about 10. And we have it all archived too if you want to go check out all the fights. And there's highlight reels on our TikTok, which is also Nashville Armored Combat. And all you got to do if you want to actually like train with us is show up to a class. It's always free to begin with. You get to see how we train because not many people know what to expect when they get involved. So you just show up in shorts, maybe bring a cup if you want, and we show you how it works. And if you are interested, you can sign up for our memberships and we train you up and help you get into armor as fast as you can handle it. So some people are very dedicated and they get in armor quick. Some are not, so it takes them a little longer. If you'd like to donate at all, either buy some of our merch. You know, we got a bunch of merch. A bunch of the teams have their own merch, like the Alicorns is our women's team. And we actually give the money from our t-shirt sales to them so they can help build their teams out. And then there's a non-for-profit that we do called Armored Hearts, and that's where we work with other nonprofits to help them raise money. And there's a little donation button on our website. You can put a little cash in our pocket, and I believe we have a Venmo now. I haven't looked yet because it's new to us, and that's Nashville Armored Combat on Venmo. So you feel like throwing us some change, like we want to start paying these fighters real soon. That's our goal.
That's what's up, man. Y'all saw it here. I'm gonna try on if I'm home on a Wednesday night and you guys are streaming, I'll jump on and just show it on my channel so people can just kind of look at it and we can just talk or whatever.
That'd be great.
I'm gonna tell as many people as I can about what you guys are doing. I promise you that, brother. I'm gonna try to get to Nashville. One day I'm just gonna pop up and be like, "Yo, brother Mickey, what up?" You know what I mean? I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna get in there and fight.
We'll give you
telling
cage
you now.
though, man. You'll be right on the action. I mean, there's the cage. You can see the seat right there. Like that's how close you are. You're about 3 feet away from the cage.
Oh my goodness! But I'm definitely gonna get up there. I'm a single dad, so I gotta make sure I stay alive until my daughter at least finishes high school.
There you go. Yeah. Where in Florida are you at? I forgot.
I'm in Tampa.
Oh, Tampa? Cool.
I'm in Tampa.
There's a few teams. I can't remember where they're from in Florida. I think they're a little further north. And then like my personal trainer's in Miami, so I'm gonna go down there in the winter and go put in my month of training because I got to fight some Australian guy who's coming into town. So.
Well, I tell you what, I'm in Miami all the time. In fact, I'll be in Miami on the 6th for the end of that weekend.
Oh, nice.
I will, let's keep in touch. I will definitely come by and check you out because I would love to follow up, man. To see you train would be amazing, bro. Like to come in and see what you do to stay in shape, to stay fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you like to practice the blow, like the different weapons? Mm-hmm. That has to be amazing to see that, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot different than people think. Like right now, after this, when we're done, I'm gonna put my helmet on, go hit because we use tires instead of punching bags. That holds up to the weapons, so I'm gonna hit that for 10 rounds, and then I'm gonna go do a couple exercises in like half the armor, and then a thing we call the Soul Crusher, where you're on a assault bike and then doing burpees, and it's just this round after round after round. And then I'm gonna teach classes, then go do judo, and then I got to do my sprints at the end of the night, and then go run stairs. Like that's my daily is like about 2.5 hours to 3 hours of training outside of classes. So
well, brother Mickey, thank you so much for doing this. This is a crazy, y'all see it. This is why we call this the I Really Want to Know podcast, because I really wanted to know what these modern day knights were doing, and brother Mickey was nice enough to come up and show us the weapons, and we got some footage and we got some some invaluable insight into this world. Is there anything else? I'll give you the last word.
No, just thank you so much for having me, man. And we're happy to spread the word about it because that's the only way it's going to grow. So,
Man, it's my pleasure, man. And as this platform grows, man, I'm gonna keep circling back to you in Nashville Armored Combat, man. And we're gonna be watching your fighting professional career blossom, especially if you go overseas, because we do travel, bro. We do travel. So if you go overseas, we'll be there. I'm DL Saint. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. Yo, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. And Brother Mickey, hang on for 1 second.